to say the guy's name, but instead of it saying Jesus Christ or anything on the outside, it says a ministry of da-da-da-da-da-da. Nothing about Jesus at all on the building. And it's the largest church, I think, in the world. No, probably not. Korean churches are probably bigger. I'm sure they are. But it's the biggest one in the States. And once again, I'm going, my goodness, look at the money. Where's the money going? What about missions? Yeah, I'm a starving missionary, folks. Can't you see I'm getting thinner by the second? So, I've got this mindset, I don't have often enough money to pay for the things, the work that I do with the Korean. But, what I do on Thursdays when I go out and minister, it costs nothing. Not a thing. We don't have a building. We have nothing. We go from house to house. It doesn't cost anything. So I'm looking at this and going, as we say in Thai, do a comparison. Put it on the scales. You judge yourself. Now, also, there's another problem with the building. Do you like to be a slave? Who wants to be a slave? You're supposed to be a slave to Jesus. You know that? But, a lot of churches, they're slave to the bank because they buy a building and they get in financial trouble, and it's a burden for them. I mean, I understand that people need buildings, but it is a burden. But the thing is, here in Romans it says, Romans chapter 13, verse 8, it says, owe nothing to anyone except to love one another. That's great. For he who loves his neighbor has fulfilled the law. So, getting into debt over things, it's not a good thing. I understand it, and, my church back in the States, I think they probably are right now too. But, if you can get out of it, don't do it. That's a good thing. So, now the other aspect is we've been talking about a building and a place that we go in and God is there, But the fact is that, folks, I'm sorry to tell you this. This is a shock to you. I'm sure it is a shock. This is not your home. You don't belong here. This isn't your place. Okay? Jesus said this. This is Jesus himself. It's Luke chapter 9, verse 58. And Jesus said to him, the foxes have holes, and the birds of the air have nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay his head. This isn't his place. And think about this. Israel, when they were going out of Egypt, slavery, which all of you were in, if you were a believer now, you were in slavery, folks. You were. But they were going out of the place of slavery. They went into the desert. Not a very nice place. The Lord provided for their needs, but where did they worship? They worshiped in a tent. A temporary place. Kind of like here. This isn't ours. It's a temporary place. That's where they worshipped. And then came the promised land afterwards. Right? Now I hope that none of you worship a golden calf, not making it in the promised land. But the fact is that everything was temporary for them. It was temporary. But we as a church, what do we want to do? We want to have things that people can see and point to. That's ours. That's us. Peter said in 1 Peter chapter 2, verse 11, Beloved, I urge you as what? Aliens and strangers to abstain from fleshy lusts. That's a tongue twister. Which war against your soul. So, what are you? You're aliens and strangers. See, people look at Christians and say, you're strange. Well, yeah, I am. I'm a stranger here. I don't belong here. I'm an alien. Not like, the kind that pops out of the stomach, in a movie, but the kind that doesn't belong here. I'm not Thai. I'm an American. I am an alien in this country. But you know what? More than that, I am a Christian. This world is not mine. I don't belong here. It's only temporary. So comes another sense about what the church actually is. And we've been talking about the building thing. It's not a building, folks. But there's another part of this, is separate. The church is separate. The world here, the church here. It's not the same. It's separate. And as I talked about the world thing, this is what Jesus had to say. John chapter 17, verse 6. They are not of the world, even as I am not of the world. So we're not from here. This isn't our place, folks. We don't belong here. We're just hanging around. We're visiting. And so talking about, separate and getting involved in the world, this is what Paul told Timothy. This is pretty good. I've always liked this scripture. 2 Timothy chapter 2, verse 4. No soldier in active service entangles himself. You know what entangles? Being tied up. Entangles himself in the affairs of everyday life, so that he may please the one who enlisted him as a soldier. And so the churches are they have been for a very long time, getting attached to this world in many different ways. And a building is just one of them. There's other things too, folks. There's other things too. But the building, like I said, is the thing I'm going to focus on today. And see, even this church, that it doesn't belong here. There's strangers are passing through. There's competition between them. We're supposed to be one church, right? The universal church, the Catholic church. There's competition, folks, believe it or not, for you to go to their church. And so they build this wonderful building. Oh, it's so pretty. Let's go there today. It's got nice carpeting in it, and the seats are all padded. Some of them I've gone in, you can't keep from falling asleep in the seats because they're so comfortable. Isn't that true? Haven't you ever done that? I mean, I'm up in the mountains sitting on the floor, and my backside is falling asleep and tingling. My legs are falling asleep, and I'm trying to move around so the blood will flow. I'm a Westerner. I'm not used to sitting on the floor. But I go into these churches and go, I can't keep from falling asleep. Plus, sometimes the sermon's pretty... and we're going to talk about that in a minute, about the sermons. Some. Not this one. So there's this competition that goes on. And so, when I thought about this, there's a scripture in the Bible about this. About trying to attract attention to yourself. Where is that scripture? John chapter 7, verses 2 through 6. This is great. Now, the feast of the Jews, the feast of booths, was near. Therefore, his brothers said to him, and this is Jesus' brothers said to him, leave here and go into Judea, so that your disciples may see your works, which you are doing. For no one does anything in secret when he himself seeks to be known publicly. If you do these things, show yourself to the world. And it goes on, it says, for not even his brothers were believing in him. So Jesus said to them, my time is not yet here, but your time is always opportune. And there's always an opportunity for you. So, they were saying, go out, advertise yourself if you want to be seen, if you want to be known, advertise yourself. Tell everybody, right? But it seems like that's what the churches are doing. I see these signs and everything going down the road, and my goodness, they've got signs too. Like I said, culture shock. I was so shocked. And Houston, is a big city, and I'm not really from a big city too. I'm a small city guy. Now, something happened Christmas Eve I wanted to tell you about. We had the Krim come, and they sang, and it was really wonderful. There was a few of you that were here. You guys weren't here. Unfortunately, they had to work. But that's fine. But afterwards, I wanted to take them out to eat, and we needed to go over so we had to go through the back streets a little bit.